Update number 2 on Typhoon Sulik, currently a Category 4 typhoon in the Western Pacific with winds of 140 miles per hour and a pressure of 933 millibars. Expected to move generally westwards as a Category 4 storm, perhaps peaking as a 150 mile per hour super typhoon before moving towards Taiwan, possibly making landfall as a Category 3 storm over Taiwan and then moving into China, probably making landfall there as a minimal typhoon. Gale advisory is in effect for the Daito Islands in Japan at the moment, and Signal 1 warnings for the Batanes Islands in the Philippines, the northernmost islands in the Philippines there at the moment. That's the current signals in effect there. The sea surface temperature is then fairly warm at the moment, especially where the storm is located, around 30 degrees Celsius where it currently is, and expected to move into waters that are around 29 to 30 degrees all the way to Taiwan and maybe even beyond, just a little bit, until it reaches the Chinese coast when it will fall off a little bit. But sea surface temperatures will certainly not be an issue in terms of this storm's development as it progresses towards the west-northwest over the next few days. Obviously, with it being such a big storm and such a strong storm as well, storm surge will probably be in effect as well, with high waves, rip tides as well, rip currents along the islands, the Japanese islands, and in Taiwan, and of course China, and possibly the Philippines as well. The island of Luzon, the northern part of Luzon there, may see some waves. And the storm's moving towards the west-northwest at the moment. You can see the eye there very clear and becoming even more well-defined over the past few hours. You can see it getting more well-rounded towards the last few frames there, a little bit ragged towards the first few frames. But what is apparent in the infrared imagery here, you can see that the eye wall itself has actually weakened slightly, which is why the intensity's gone down from 145, which is what it was earlier, to 140, which is what it is now. But intensification is still likely over the next day or two, probably peaking as a 150 mile per hour Category 4 typhoon in around a day's time, and obviously quite a serious situation for Taiwan and parts of the Ryukyu Islands in Japan as well. Looking at the world tropics then for July the 10th, it's 3 o'clock UTC at the moment. Extratropical storm, well, post-tropical storm, well, the remnant low, Eric, is moving through Mexico at the moment, into the United States as well, possibly the remnants of it. Chantal as well, weakening at the moment near Hispaniola, and also, of course, Typhoon Sulik. That's the main game at the moment, moving towards the west-northwest and likely to impact Taiwan and China as a typhoon in 3 or 4 days' time, or maybe even less than that now. But that's the current situation. Nothing else going on in the Western Pacific at the moment, though 1 or 2 models are hinting at some more development happening after Sulik dissipates. But more on that in the bulletin later on. 2013 compared then, 6 tropical storms so far, 2 typhoons and 1 major typhoon, Category 3 or above, using the Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale at least. Obviously things are slightly different over there in classifications. They don't have major storms, they have super typhoons, which is what would occur if Sulik reached 150 mile per hour winds. And don't forget, you can track this storm at the Force 13 website, force13.com/stormtracking.html. That's the main storm tracking page where you can have the overview map with all the tables which show at a glance what storms are out there and what warnings are in effect. And then you can go more in depth, basin by basin, to see what's going on, the tracking maps, and of course any warning information in more detail, and any tracking information in more detail as well. Obviously that's fairly important, with more warnings will probably be going up in anticipation of Typhoon Sulik in the next bulletins. So in between bulletins, in between updates, make sure you check out the website, because that's updated more often than these videos come out. But that's it for now, and the next video will be coming up for Sulik, at least in the bulletin, at midnight UTC tonight, July the 11th. That'll be on the morning of Thursday, July the 11th, midnight UTC.